Want a Sprite cranberry? Okay, no, actually this is cranberry ginger ale, but that's close enough, right? Hey guys, what's up? It's Cuber, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing the GAN 356X. This is GAN's flagship 3x3 as the latest in the 356 line. It's pretty much the most expensive 3x3 they've made at $62, making it one of the most expensive 3x3s you can currently buy. So let's go over the features and performance of this cube and see if they warrant that kind of a price tag. So first of all, let's go ahead and go over the differences from the GAN 354M because that's the cube that's most similar to this cube. So first of all, from what I can tell, the mechanisms are identical, with the 356 being 2mm bigger, obviously. The only thing that's different is in the edge. So on the 356X, the tabs for the caps are visible, but that shouldn't really make a big difference. The edges and corners still have the visible magnet capsules, except in this puzzle, they are interchangeable. So when you unbox the 356X, you not only get the GES nuts, but also a set of magnets at different strengths. So the clear magnets that come in the cube are the strongest option, which I was surprised by because they're not really all that strong. The yellow magnets are weaker and the green magnets are the weakest. The set also comes with another set of clear capsules, but these don't have any magnets at all. So if you want to unmagnetize your cube, you can do that, but I don't know why you would want to. I think GAN definitely should have included one magnet option that was stronger than the stock option, because the yellow and green nuts are just both too weak for this cube. And then of course, if you just put the clear capsules with no magnets in, the cube just becomes incredibly floppy and wobbly. It's just really not fun to use. So I definitely just recommend sticking with the stock magnets that come in the cube. As for what GES I'm using, I'm actually really liking the green nuts in this cube. I thought that because I preferred the yellow nuts in the 354, I was going to prefer them in this cube, but I actually don't. It's surprising. In this cube, it just makes the cube feel a little too slow and not quite as snappy and responsive. It felt just a tiny bit sluggish, and I couldn't really find a good tension to go with it. I don't know, it was just a little bit weird, so I went back to the green nuts and I'm liking those better. So let's go ahead and get on to performance. When I first unboxed the 356, I was absolutely blown away by how smooth and buttery the turning was. It was really one of the nicest feeling cubes I had ever used, and I just couldn't stop turning it, even if I wasn't solving. Now that it's been broken in much more, the turning has roughened out just a bit. It's still incredibly silky smooth, but also feels a little bit bubbly with just a hint of crunchiness as well. The cube is really fast with the green GES installed. I've had issues controlling the cube pretty much since I got it, and I have tried to slow it down with lube, but I'm always worried that I'm going to put too much in and not be able to get it back out properly and speed it up again. I've done that with plenty of cubes at this point, so I pretty much leave it as is. I would prefer my cube to be just a little bit too fast than too slow, so I don't really mind that much. But I also find myself locking up a little bit during last layer algorithms just because of the speed. So for me at least, the cube doesn't lend itself super well to smooth looking solves, but generally my solves are relatively smooth. I just can't turn super fast. However, I do find that I can pretty much solve with this cube forever and not get tired of it. There have been several nights where I just throw my Spotify playlist on and start solving and just go for hours until I can barely stay awake. So saying it's a fun cube to solve on is a bit of an understatement. However, the locking problems of this cube are making me seriously consider whether or not I want to keep using it. The same kind of harshness that I experienced on the GAN 354 that I mentioned in that review, I also experienced to a certain degree on this cube. I think the problem is that because this cube is just so stable, it doesn't want to deform at all. So when a lockup does happen, it just feels like much more of a harsh snap just because the cube wants to return to its original shape so much. And it's not that the spring tension is tight, because I'm using the green GES, like I said, and it's actually a pretty loose spring tension. And I had similar problems when using the yellow GES as well in my testing, so I think it's just because I'm not a super accurate turner, especially when I turn fast, and because this cube is fast, it makes me want to turn fast, but really it performs best when I just slow down a little bit and not rush my turns so heavily and turn more accurately. That's when it really performs its best. So when I'm solving, I definitely do have to be pretty conscious of how I'm turning, otherwise I will get some pretty nasty lockups. So based on what I just said, it should be pretty clear that the corner cutting on this cube isn't the smoothest in the world. It's quite snappy. The cube definitely has pretty sharp cuts. And speaking of sharp cuts, the puzzle doesn't physically feel as sharp as the 354, but it also doesn't feel as rounded as the Air SM. So I think the cube hits a pretty good middle ground. And of course, I also definitely prefer the size of this cube over the 354, just due to the size of my hands, and just generally preferring larger cubes. All right, so overall, I really, really like this cube. I haven't used a cube that I enjoy solving as much as I enjoy solving this cube probably since my Owl-Long V2 days, and this cube has been my main since I got it. I've done thousands of solves on it at this point. I mean, you can just tell how much more worn it is just looking at the logo compared to the 354. I think the main thing this cube really has going for it is its incredibly smooth, buttery, high quality feel. GAN always nails that in their cubes. They really do a good job at making their cubes feel high quality, which they should for a puzzle of this price, but it feels like the plastic would be able to accept any kind of lube I would want to put in there. The plastic feels like thick and hard, but also the turning feels really soft and the cube itself is very light. So there are little details like that in the cube that help you realize why it's a premium product. However, personally, I don't think the features of this puzzle are worth it. The replaceable magnet system is really cool and it feels very high quality, but I also really feel like at this point, there's only one usable magnet option. During all the solves I did on this puzzle, I really never felt the need to try any of the other magnets just outside of my testing process for this review. I definitely think it's a step in the right direction for cube hardware, but I also don't think it's worth the price for this cube just to have that feature. Also, while the performance is great, I don't think it's $62 great. I don't think that if you were to try this cube at a competition, the performance of it would blow you away so much that you would want to go out and spend $60 on it. That's kind of what I'm getting at. I think the cube has a much better and more refined and polished feel over the 354, but I actually kind of like the performance of the 354 better than this cube. It's an interesting situation for me because even though the 356X is the cube that I like solving on the most, there are other cubes that I have that I like the performance of better in general. So the question is, do I make my main the cube I like solving on the most or the cube that has the best performance? It's kind of a hard question to answer. Overall though, this is a really great cube, but at $62, I think it's a hard sell. Of course, I did get this cube for free, but every time I review a cube, I always like to ask myself if I would have bought it in full price if I wanted to, and I just have a hard time believing that I would for this cube. I do still think that this is pretty much one of the best cubes on the market that you can buy, although that is pretty subjective. It's all going to come down to personal preference, of course. It's impossible to say whether one cube is objectively the best or not. I also don't think that it's overpriced for the features that it includes. It's just going to be up to you to decide whether or not those features are going to be worth it to you and will justify the price that you're going to pay for it. It's just that for me, I don't think it would be worth it for myself, but I'll let you guys make up your own mind about it. The link to buy the cube will be down in the description below as always. Anyways, guys, that's about all I've got to say on the GAN 356X. Thanks, of course, to the Cubicle for sending me this cube for free and for sponsoring the video. If you guys like this video, make sure to hit that like button, turn notifications, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.